Hello, welcome along everyone. My name is Paul Burke. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Northern Territory Farmers Association. Today we have Claire Maradani, Managing Director for Treeti Business Consultancy. So we've created the series of Growing Our Territory, and the key purpose is to make sure that all of our growers and all of our stakeholders are getting the relevant information in a timely manner and being able to interact with experts in the field to be able to ask those questions about their businesses and how their businesses can actually weather the storm that we're currently in. Obviously, it's my belief that agriculture will be the leader in the recovery, but in order for that to happen, we have to get through to the recovery with as many of our growers and many of our businesses as we possibly can. So it's really important that we seek financial advice, we act early, we reach out to experts, and we prepare for any shocks that our business may be going to experience in the coming months and in the coming 12 months. We need to look at our seasonal workers. What I mean by that is we need to be looking at what are our workforce demands for the next 6 months. We need to be planning early for our workforce needs. We need to be reaching out to organisations like NT Farmers to be able to understand what supports are there. We need to be registering for the Jobs Hub, so we've got enough staff to pick the produce when it's ready. We need to be aware of cyber security at the moment. With any natural disaster or any major event, there is an increase in scammers, and we've seen a few examples of that around the Darwin area, one recently with people trying to sell tractors that didn't exist. So really take a good look at your cyber security. We need to be working towards diversifying our markets. And what I mean by that is look for new opportunities. Work closely with your existing customers. Your existing customers are critical at this moment. So really foster those relationships and work with those people. And you need to understand what your market conditions will be like next week, next month, and in 3 months' time. We are seeing a lot of pressure on certain markets, and prices have taken a bit of a tumble in certain areas. It is welcome news, though, that the hospitality, tourism, pubs, clubs are reopening, and they're around 40% of some of our products' markets. So we should be able to see some returning to normality in some markets. So really look at your markets. So that's it for me to start. I'd like to introduce Claire and hand over to Claire to have a little bit of a conversation around what's available and all about what Treeti Business Consulting does. So over to you, Claire.
Great. Thanks very much, Paul. So first of all, thank you for having me. Paul and Rosie and Emily have done a lot of work in the background to get us all set up for today. Treeti Business Consulting, I'm sitting here in Berrima. That's our head office for Australia, actually. So we've got located on level 1, building 3 at Darwin Corporate Park, and we've set up a Business Crisis Centre for SMEs. Predominantly, there's a 1-800 number which I'll share with you later. But predominantly, we've been helping NT businesses in infrastructure and growth. And when COVID came along, we converted into a crisis centre to help support SMEs. And as farmers, you're running a business. And I wanted to let you know that I grew up in Chinchilla on a farm. And my parents had a property on the Darling Downs, Chinchilla, the Darling Downs, and I'm a Queenslander. I'm proud to be a Queenslander, but living in the Northern Territory at the moment, running Treeti Business Consulting, and we've got 10 full-time staff up here advising businesses Australia-wide, plus 26 digital consultants. So when you're talking about cybersecurity, I'll touch on that a little bit later as well. But having that farming background really was driven home to me when growing up, how important it was to have a handle on the business side of farming. And not only, you just have to be so skilled in preempting the weather and all the other conditions that you run with, as well as having some knowledge and how to survive. It's a very, very special skill set, and so I really applaud each and every one of you for being on the call today and labeling yourself a farmer. So it's just an honor to talk to you. So basically, if we just scroll through, Rosie, to the things that I'm going to talk about today, and then we're going to throw the question time open. So I'd really like you to talk to me about what your challenges are, and I'm really more interested in finding out what are the things that we can support you in on this call today and beyond, more than just talking about Treeti, because you can look us up and do that research. Our website is treeti.com.au. We're overarchingly look at businesses from a holistic point of view. So pretty much every part of working on your business, we're able to support you with. And in this particular conversation, we're looking at the navigating COVID. So the mental health and well-being during COVID-19, that is number one, and I'll come back to that. It'll be our first topic. We've got the NT 10 top tricks for tackling COVID, or tips. We've got a little thing called WAZA that we've developed specifically for COVID, understanding the risks in your workplace, employer obligations, and working from home, which is not such an issue for you guys, and it would be more scaling up operations and scaling down. And then we're going to talk about resources and contacts. So if we go to the next, Rosie, the next slide. So this is something that the federal government have put out, and it's basically some tips for your mental health and well-being, and particularly we're interested in the stress and pressure that business owners are put on in this particular time. There's some things that you can do to help alleviate some of those stresses. And as a business owner myself, I can tell you now that I am engaging in each and every one of these, because it is always, it's always easier just to keep it to yourself. But the big reach out line in all of this is communicate. Talk to your network, talk to your people. There's 13 numbers down the bottom there. There's 1,300 numbers, and there's also you can contact Treeti as well. The 1-800 number is on the main page of the website, and also in this presentation. So we're really interested in supporting business owners with the challenges that they have. So seek, follow, talk, keep a routine, take a break. I can't see the one under the R because it's covered. Stay connected, exercise, check in and be kind to yourself, keep communicating, and talk to people about your financial stress is really, really critical. Okay, Rosie, move to the next slide. Next slide. So here we've got the 10 tips for tackling COVID-19 in business. Now, we went back and forth with Paul and the team to get this a little bit relevant for NT farmers. So this is also coming in the handout. I might add that they've sent out in your inbox, there's a handout called Navigating COVID, and it's basically these pages are that are up on your screen are in the handout. So you're welcome to print that out or just keep it electronically. So seeking financial advice, asking for relief, review your staffing levels, which is a major topic for NT Farmer members. And I'll just loop back to that Jobs Hub service that's been provided for all NT businesses, but in particular agriculture was front of mind when they designed that project a few weeks ago. Seasonal workers, cyber security, cleaning and hygiene, diversifying your markets, talk to your customers, getting support, and keeping in keep informed, which is everybody who's on this call, you'll be doing that last point, because that's the reason why you're here, is like looking for new bits and pieces of information. So if I say something in this presentation that you would like to comment on, or it piques your interest, just make a note on while I'm talking, and then when we get to question time, it'll be great for you to come back to me with a specific thing that's of interest to you. And I think that's a way of really making this presentation of value and of interest to everybody on the call, is if we can personalize it to where your questions are coming from and where your challenges are. So thank you, Rosie. We might go to the next slide. So part of that handout that we gave you is there is a Chamber of Commerce, the National Chamber of Commerce is on the last pages, and it's quite detailed. I would like to say at this point that the Chamber of Commerce have got a hotline set up as well, and they are specifically for dealing with IR, industrial relations, and HR issues. So they've got a government-funded program that allows any business owner in the NT to call in with any issues around that HR, IR area, and you can basically ring them and get the local Darwin Chamber of Commerce, and you get up to 4 hours of professional IR lawyers' advice about an employee or an employer or anything underneath those topics, which is about understanding your risks, employer obligations, working from home, scaling down operations, or business shutdown around your employees specifically. And that would also include business startup. So if you're re-gearing with the softening of the restrictions, the Chamber of Commerce is a good stopgap specifically around employees, a good place to go, and so is Treeti Consulting. We can also provide you with that support as well. We've got a free crisis hotline, as we said. So if we just go to the next page. So we've set up this, we mentioned, with the Northern Territory NTG government, where in the very beginning of COVID, we went in and were training the frontline staff on how to talk to business owners and what to say, because, you know, public servants don't always know how to speak our language in terms of being, you know, business owners. So that well-being, are you okay? Actively listen, what can I help you with? And that's what I want to be talking to you a little bit later, coming forward with your concerns. So how can we help you? It was, Paul mentioned it earlier, have you contacted your bank, BAS agent or accountant? That is very critical, because the federal government put out a safety net for businesses. So if you, first port of call, you ring your bank and say, I'd like to put my business loan on hold. There's some legislated banking and financial recommendations that banks have to amend by. So your loan, your business loans, can go on hold for a certain amount of time. Now, depending on the bank and depending on what the virus does, we're right in the middle of it now, or sort of coming out of the middle towards the end. So there's no relaxation on that talked about yet. So if you haven't had relief from your bank, please call them. It's not automatic. The same with the ATO, it's not automatic, but you can get your BAS payments deferred, for example. If your accountant hasn't reached out to you, please contact your accountant or the person that lodges your BAS, because in my case, our bookkeeper does that, and I'm talking to the accountant about other areas of the business. But my BAS agent is the one that lodged the JobKeeper applications, and the accountant is dealing with the overarching anything else that's not JobKeeper. So you can go to either your BAS agent or your accountant and ask them to activate some of those savings that will relieve the pressure of those payments immediately. We've also got job rescue and recovery options with NTG. So we've had an extension on the survival grant. We have had the home improvements grant is closed off. The business improvement grant has been extended. There are other things at a state level. So if you would like to call Treeti, we will be able to be very, very specific about what grants are available for you and direct you in that way. We've also got NTG business growth grants where we can take digital, for example. They have a digital solutions. We can submit an application. You ring your small business champion, you get your application in, and then we can deliver on upgrading your website, starting a social media campaign, any specific digital. You might need help with your Xero accounting software, for example, search engine optimization, anything to do with that. We've got fully funded programs that'll be able to support you and get you in the right direction and help you put those applications, support you in that application process, because sometimes we just don't have, businesses don't have time to sit down and go through the quagmire of application processes. That's what we're here to support you with. So anything to do with an application for a grant, if you give us a call, we can help you with that. Okay, just moving ahead, Rosie. So I'd like to throw the, actually we might just get the chat screen up, Rosie, and I'll put that Treeti 1-800 number in. And it's 1-800-595-165. And the Treeti office is 8896. Sorry, let me say that again. 08-8967-1788. So if you can put those two numbers in the chat screen, Rosie, that would be really good in case I've mentioned the phone a couple of times. Do I need to put that in the chat screen, guys, or are you okay with that? $800, I can put it in 595. 165. Treeti Business Consulting. All right. If it's all right with you, Paul, we'll throw it over to the group to talk about some questions that might have been tweaked in while I was talking. Basically, has anyone got anything they'd like to talk around cybersecurity, jobs hubs, grants and tender applications? Is there any questions that anyone would like to ask me about business and working on your business?
So I've got one for you, Claire, while people are thinking
sure
how to operate the system. But we're getting a fair few inquiries now from employers that have got staff that normally would be able to get a weekend off and go away and get off the farm and, you know, have a life outside of work. But that hasn't been possible in most businesses, as you know. Is there any supports or pastoral care programs or initiatives that are being developed or being considered to assist staff that are basically stuck at work? Because obviously our employers need to keep and retain these staff. So any thoughts or comments or observations or anything that you know people are doing that, you know, might be a bit innovative?
I have seen some of those models in other states. I haven't come across it yet in NT. However, it's a very good idea. If it doesn't exist, it's something that we should talk about, Paul, perhaps taking to, you know, you're talking about jobs hubs. That's an initiative that we could possibly start with a trial group of, you know, a few businesses that are impacted, and then we could perhaps create a trial program of giving them some relief, some form of relief. I have heard of a similar program in New South Wales, in regional New South Wales. So perhaps this is something that we could model and start to activate, because we've obviously got a group of people there that are interested in working with NT farmers in jobs hubs they've registered, and you've also got a need. So there's a supply and a demand requirement there. So it shouldn't be too hard to put together. Have you got any idea who going to which group to get that kicked off might be the way to go? Darwin Innovation Hub, maybe?
Yeah, potentially Darwin Innovation Hub, maybe even Department of Communities, because there will be a lot of people across different sectors experiencing the same thing. So you know, people working in remote service stations and on pastoral properties as well. So I've certainly been hearing from a range of stakeholders that they're struggling to entertain their staff, and there's only so much Netflix that one person can watch.
Yeah, and then we've got a lot of clients that are in the health and fitness industry, and they're all wanting to go online. So it might be doing something targeted, like you know, yoga classes or gym PT, you know, offering a variety of health and fitness, you know, that keeping moving and keeping motivated side of things, to try and entertain them as well. So some kind of relief staffing program. I think that's a great initiative, Paul, and a very good idea. And Treeti would definitely be interested in supporting that, and Darwin Innovation Hub could probably help be the conduit to roll it out.
So is there any other questions from the floor? Would anyone like to, you can either talk or you can type it in the comments box. If not, what I might do is just go over a couple of NT farmer issues as well. Claire, is there anything you wanted to add? And feel free to jump in while I'm giving an update on NT farmers.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that sometimes people are more comfortable having a confidential one-on-one conversation. So that's very much the service that Treeti offers. So and it's free. It's a free service. So if anyone who it's just a little bit shy of coming forward and talking, asking their question in the group, or they don't feel like their question is going to forward the conversation with the group, then please encourage you to dial that 1-800 number on the screen and ask for me, and we can have a confidential conversation about anything that's regarding your business that you feel you may need support in any of the topics that we touched on today. But yeah, I think, Paul, it'd be great. I'll just stand by, because if something comes up and someone might think of a question a little bit while you're going through business, it'll trigger something for them, and they can talk about what their question might be at a later point on this presentation.
Thanks, Claire. So some of the key areas that we're working on the moment is around assisting growers with the implementation of COVID-19 management plans on property. So if you haven't put one in, please reach out to the office. Andrew Phillip in our office is having a lot of success getting COVID-19 management plans through, and we can talk you through what needs to go into that plan and assist you with the lodging of your application. So please reach out for that one. We're also talking federally with National Farmers Federation and several of the larger unions around some flexibility in the current awards, given the situation we're experiencing at the moment. And the key focus of that is around some of the shift allowances, some of the penalty allowances, so we can actually space our workers over a longer period of time without penalising the business. So we can get less people in the packing shed, for example, but over a longer period of time. So we're looking at innovative ways to get some flexibility into the award. We're also looking at 304 hours over the 8-week period and getting some flexibility in that, given that we won't be able to interchange staff across other properties. So we need to get some flexibility to maximise your productivity, but also maximise the amount of hours that staff can work in a given period. So we're working pretty hard at a federal level on that one. We're also working federally on fuel surcharge. for your deliveries. So we are aware that some transport operators are still charging a surcharge, and we believe that fuel prices are the lowest they've been in 20 years, probably the lowest they've been in 30 years, and that fuel surcharge is just a bit of a take, and it needs to come off. And we also want to understand why the territory specifically hasn't seen the reduction in fuel prices that everywhere else has. So I think that's really a critical part, and will work to the inputs of the business. The other component is the seasonal worker program, and many of our growers probably over the last 3 or 4 years have used seasonal labour out of predominantly the Pacific. That's probably not going to be possible for at least the next 12 months. So we've got a dedicated resource in Isla Connolly, who's a workforce coordinator and planner. Please reach out. Just give us a call on 8983 3233, and we'll put you in touch with Isla, and she can help you with all of your workforce inquiries. So it's a dedicated resource. It's a partnership between ourselves and the Department of Business, Trade and Innovation. The last thing I wanted to touch on is over the coming weeks, we'll be having, hopefully the Minister will be on, having a discussion, so you'll be able to ask him all of the questions. So Minister Kirby, who's the Minister for Primary Industries and Natural Resources. We'll also have Alistair Treeti, the Chief Executive of the Department of Primary Industries. We'll have the Rural Financial Counsellor. So we're trying to get these webinars so they give you some benefit for your business. So if you've got any ideas of topics you want covered, we're happy to roll these on as long as we've got topics. So that's about it from me. There are a few questions coming in now, so I will endeavour to get those up. And
great. So I can jump in here, Paul. So Pallavi, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, from Micronized Minerals. Your question is about business growth, and your suppliers of soil conditioners and to the agricultural sector. So how can you grow in these, how to grow in these business times? So when we talk about infrastructure for growth and business growth, there's a whole process that sits behind that. And it's right now, because of the current situation with COVID and the government, how they're supporting businesses, one of the ways they are supporting businesses is they're providing the consultants to deliver business growth strategies for zero cost. Usually the grants would always be there, and you'd have to meet a certain criteria to be supported for the grant. And now there's a lot more access because of what's happening. There's a lot more access. So I will get Rosie to give me your number, Pallavi. I'll give you a call this afternoon about scheduling a conversation with us over the phone or over Zoom. We're actually, we considered it semi-essential, so you can also come into the office. We've got all the, 1.5 metre, we've got large boardrooms and training rooms, so we can see you in person as well. It'll be whatever works for you, and talk about what are some overarching strategies for business growth. And it will depend a lot on your existing business, your existing markets, when restrictions are getting lifted. So that's not a conversation that we'd have on this chat, but it is something we'll have in one-on-one. And the same thing for digital. So Treeti Business Consulting has several federal contracts that we run out, and digital is one of them. Last year we were the NT Digital Business of the Year. So one of the programs that we run is called ASPAS. It doesn't matter what it's called, but it's basically a digital program for business owners, and it's a very heavily subsidised. We have digital experts that will ask you a series of questions about your digital capacity, and then we able to provide support around what area of growth you need. So do you need a new website? Do you need search engine optimization? Do you require a digital marketing plan? So what type of digital support do you need? So once again, too detailed for this general information webinar, but I'll thank you. You've put your number there, so I don't need to get that from the girls. I'll just call you directly as soon as we finish, and we can set you up to talk to the appropriate people. And you prefer a personal visit? Great. And yeah, bring whoever you need to bring. So that's great. Thank you. Look, I've got that number. I'll make sure you get a call, and we'll get you set up with those appropriate meetings. And it will be meetings, because you've got the overarching business growth conversation, then there's digital, and there's other things that will spin off from that as well.
Okay, so I'll probably just like to close and say thanks very much, Claire. It's been invaluable, and I think we'll certainly get better at doing this. This is the second time I've actually hosted a webinar, so I'm nowhere near as rusty as last week, but we will continue to evolve and get better. A couple of things I'd just like to close off with is thanks, Treeti. Thanks, Claire. Make sure you're looking after yourself. Really, reach out, talk to someone you went to school with 20 years ago, talk to someone that you don't normally talk to your neighbour, but reach out. Also, follow us on Facebook, jump onto any of our social media platforms. We have tons of information online, and at some stage in the next 6 to 12 months, we'll be back to having face-to-face meetings where we're all more comfortable standing in a paddock, kicking a bit of dirt and having a conversation. But I urge everyone, when we are having those meetings face-to-face in the future, to come along, meet some different people and challenge your own business and your own ideas. You'll learn so much from mixing with like-minded peers and talking about their businesses and seeing how they operate. So, like during this time, spend some of your downtime improving your business and learning some new skills for your business. Business is exciting, it's challenging, and you're probably going through one of the biggest challenges that any business will go through in the next few decades. So, be proud of what you've achieved and be proud of what you're producing for the rest of Australia. One of the really cool things for me as a person is to see how the opinion of agriculture during this has really changed. People are really starting to respect the work and the efforts that the agriculture industry does to feed and clothe us in Australia, and we've become a little bit disjointed with our city cousins. And I think during the pandemic we're going through at the moment, people in the cities are really starting to appreciate the value of having a strong agricultural industry. So I think that puts us in a really strong position to have some good conversations around the recovery phase, which is the next part of the journey we're all going to go on. So thank you very much, Claire. Thank you everyone for logging on.
Can I just say something?
Yeah,
we're all learning we're all learning how to navigate Zoom and other platforms. I just clicked on Q&A, and there's a couple of questions in there, one for you, Paul, and one for me, two for me, and one for you. Shall we go through those quickly before we let everyone
know? Yeah, absolutely.
So this is the Q&A. So I'm referring to down on the bottom of your screen, there's participants, Q&A, chat. So in the Q&A section, do you want to read it, Paul, and then I can respond, because then we can get clear on all the acronyms?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it. Just hold on a sec. Just having here we go. Just an IT challenge moment. So an anonymous attendee. So the first one is NTMIA and NTFA has made a COVID-19 plan by security signs to put on the front gate. I don't know whether you can see. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Yep. So these are the signs. I have not put one on the gate yet, as I might feel awkward to have a sign up, as it might make people think that this farm is infected and stay clear. What do you and Claire think about that? My honest opinion is the sign is your first wall of defence of keeping COVID out of your property. You need to know who's coming onto your property and when they're coming onto your property. I don't think people will think your property is infected. What I do think is it'll make people stop and think before they just walk into your front door. So I would strongly urge people to put the signs up. What do you think, Claire?
Well, first of all, I think it's a really great question. Thank you for asking it. it's hard as a business owner to think about this as a health pandemic first and foremost, because of the severe impact that it's had on the economy. But the reality is that COVID-19 is a health and economic crisis, predominantly a health crisis, global pandemic. So I think that most people understand that at some level. I think most people get that. The majority of, I heard a statistic on the radio this morning that 8% of the total population are not abiding by the rules and distancing, and they basically are not responding to the fact that there is a coronavirus that exists and has changed their life. They're completely ignoring all of the requests. So that means if 8%, that means that 92% of the population are very, very clear and compliant about all of the instructions that have been given by the federal government. And I don't know how accurate those percentages are, but this is what was the snippet on the radio this morning. So I think that if you put a sign up, it says that you're being responsible about the biosecurity risks to Australia. And I think that it shows that you're really understanding the complexities and the difficulties that come along with the restrictions that were placed because of COVID-19. I think it's an awesome question. And my opinion is that most people would think that if you put the sign up, you're being responsible. That's my opinion. And I'm not an expert in that area.
Fantastic. Well, we're all becoming more expert in biosecurity than we've ever had. The next question is from Han. G'day, Han. Hopefully you're having a good day out there. With the new normal that the government keeps talking about and the dates around the 5th of June, do you think in the future farm pack houses of less than 10 people or less than 5 people will not need to have a COVID-19 management plan? And we usually have 7 people in our mango pack house. So I think I can answer that, Han, with a degree of confidence. In the short term, yes, you will. I don't know what will happen longer term, but I think any business needs to be planning to have our current restrictions in place and our current new normal in place at least towards the end of the year. So I think you need to start to do that planning now. If it becomes not necessary, you've at least done a bit of a look at your own business, but I can't see them removing the need for a COVID-19 management plan in the near future. Claire, have you got any thoughts on that?
Just that the Territory's roadmap to our new normal, which everyone would have seen yesterday after the Chief Min's announcement, which was really great the way he delivered that. So it's a 3-stage process, and stage 1 started today, and the second part of stage 1 is the 5th of May, which is you'll need that safety plan to reopen. Inside of my comment about it being a staged health pandemic response, I think that this is the responsible way to go, and that this is a way of they've got to be able to demonstrate to us as taxpayers and as citizens of Australia and NT that how they're doing it for the overarchingly, what's the best thing for the overarching population. And I can't disagree with anything that Paul has said, and it looks like they've put some good thought into it. So yeah, if you stay the 1.5, if you need less than 7 people, then it should be good to go. Like, I can't see any reason why there's going to be a problem there. Paul, is that basically reiterating?
Absolutely. I think it's prudent to get your plan in and approved. If it's redundant in 6 months' time or 3 months' time, at least you've gone through the process. And if nothing else, you'll understand your business a lot more. Hans also asked, talking about digital future and digital farming, is there any plans to support for older generations who may not have touched a computer or even have a smartphone? And that's a great question, because I can give a little bit of personal reflection here. My parents are in their 80s and they're not particularly computer savvy. and I've been trying to school them in Zoom so we can actually see each other. And they're scared they're going to break their computer, or they're scared that someone's going to hack in. So it's a really good question. We can't afford to let some of our generation miss out because we don't have some supports in place. So Claire, be interested in your comments in this space.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we are very interested in providing support and have been. So part of the federal contract, that digital contract that I was talking about, that Treeti has been rolling out for 18 months, that we do have allowances for generational learning. We started the program in 4 key areas, and one of them was website, digital, cloud-based programs, and security. And we've now been able to deepen the program and go with some targeting specific groups. So we did start with specific businesses, industries that we were supporting and particularly marketing to, and we, as a result of COVID, have developed, we're now deepening that reach and going into that. So once again, contact Treeti we have on our website, there's webinars that people can attend around the digital space, and we can do some more specific things around targeting that older generation. And it's really about demand. So if people reach out and say, I'd really love some support in this area, and this is, we will design a webinar and deliver that accordingly. Well, not only webinar, we were able to design apps, we were able to design training, and the program was really to link businesses and to the digital world. So it was to close the gap, and we do that through interaction with the business community. So I would love, Han, to talk to you more about that, and we have a team of people that can design something specific to your business if need be, and then turn it around and deliver that as a webinar to other people in the agricultural industry. So it's all based on demand. We have a large library and ongoing network. Before pre-COVID, we were doing face-to-face, having people in our meeting rooms and training and doing expos, and there was all sorts of activities around that. That just continues now. And we'll eventually go back to face-to-face, but there's a part of us now moving forward, the whole world, that we are more digital than we were pre-COVID. Post-COVID is a digital world, and we need to be able to support people. We don't want to leave anyone behind. Fantastic. So Han, be in contact or put your number in the chat screen, and I'll have one of my digital team call you to take that conversation further.
Thanks, Claire. So that's it for us today. Have a great long weekend. Make sure you go and experience something, buy something from the Territory. It's important we support all of our Territory businesses at the moment. We're all in this together. Talk next week, and we'll be talking about a new topic, so keep your eye out on Facebook. And if anyone needs some specific assistance, please feel free to reach out to myself as well. My mobile number's all over the place, or just send in a request through a Facebook page and I'll be in touch. So thanks very much, everyone, and enjoy the weekend. Thanks, Claire.
Great. Thanks, Paul.